Imagine if trees grew instantly at a rate of 1 centimeter per second. This is a question of profound biological aggression. 1 centimeter per second might sound slow, but it translates to 36 meters per hour, or nearly 1 kilometer every day. If every tree on Earth suddenly began growing at this continuous, relentless speed, the world as we know it would be redefined not over years, but in hours. First hour, the urban erasure. When the growth begins, the first victims are not people, but our infrastructure. Urban environments are built around controlled space, and this controlled space is instantly invaded. Within the first few minutes, any tree, bush, or sapling near a building, road, or power line becomes a weapon. A simple sapling next to a curb grows 30 centimeters in half a minute, turning into a rigid, expanding pole that cracks concrete, buckles sidewalks, and snaps water pipes. Large, established trees, say a 10-meter oak, would become colossal destructive hammers. Their crowns would slam into overhead power lines and shatter windows instantly. After the full first hour, every major city is facing a complete infrastructural meltdown. Trees are now 36 meters taller, forcing their way through apartment building walls and collapsing roofs. Elevated highways are lifted, cracked, and rendered impassable by roots growing beneath the asphalt and branches exploding through the median strips. It wouldn't be a gentle uplift. It would be a chaotic, violent, and messy fracturing of all human construction. The first day, climate chaos and mass evacuation. Within the first 24 hours, trees would have grown over 860 meters tall. The immediate threat shifts from infrastructure collapse to oxygenation and visibility. As billions of square kilometers of new biomass is generated, a massive amount of CO2 is rapidly absorbed, and an unprecedented amount of O2 is released. While initial panic might fear a lack of oxygen, the opposite is true. The air might briefly become too rich in oxygen, potentially increasing the risk of fire and causing temporary physiological issues for humans, though the immediate crisis is structural survival, not atmospheric balance. The crucial problem is now global darkness and isolation. Trees over half a mile high would block the sun in many regions, causing local areas to be plunged into permanent twilight. Transportation is impossible. Cars are crushed, roads are blocked by giant, ever-growing trunks, and air travel is suicidal due to the kilometer-high canopy. People are now trapped in localized pockets of splintered wood and collapsed concrete. The first week, the high-altitude threat. After 1 week, the trees are over 6 kilometers tall. Survival at ground level is now extremely unlikely due to perpetual darkness, pressure from the wood, and lack of resources. The new threat emerges in the upper atmosphere. Trees now reach the cruising altitudes of commercial jets, effectively shutting down all aviation indefinitely. More dramatically, the constant growth pumps water vapor and biological compounds far higher into the troposphere than usual. This leads to extreme weather instability, unpredictable, violent thunderstorms, fueled by massive amounts of biological material and moisture. The most organized survivors would attempt to find refuge in deserts, tundra, or on the ocean, where the lack of existing flora offers a temporary reprieve. However, even the oceans are not safe for long, as masses of snapped wood fall into the water, creating floating debris fields the size of small continents. The long term. A world of wood is. The phenomenon continues into the long term. We face the inevitable. The planet is entombed in wood. If the growth is only limited by the tree's chemical ability to sustain itself, they will eventually reach beyond the Kármán line, breaking through the atmosphere. The massive carbon dioxide drawdown would drastically change the greenhouse effect, potentially plunging the Earth into a global ice age once the initial atmospheric heat from decomposition and friction dissipates. The sheer mass of new low-density wood would slightly reduce the Earth's average density, but the effect would be minor compared to the total environmental annihilation, the unexpected twist, the fungal savior. Here is the unexpected resolution. Life always finds a way, specifically the quiet, underestimated life forms. The continuous rapid creation of new, towering biomass is unsustainable. Every 1 centimeter of new growth requires 1 centimeter of structural support. As the trees push toward the exosphere, they become impossibly top-heavy. However, the real solution comes from below. A planet covered in kilometers of rapidly growing, then dying, wood provides an unprecedented food source for decomposers, specifically fungi. The biological strain on existing soil and nutrient cycles would be astronomical. Within weeks, genetically flexible, rapidly mutating fungi, like aggressive strains of armillaria, would evolve to consume the wood at an equally staggering rate. The growth is 1 centimeter per second, but decomposition is now 1.1 centimeters per second, just fast enough to win. The world becomes a vast, hot, perpetually steaming landscape where kilometer-high trunks rise, only to be consumed by an aggressive, glowing, subterranean network of mycelium. Civilization is not destroyed by the wood, but by the wood's inability to survive its own growth. The end result is a temporary, steaming, nutrient-rich planetary compost heap. Humanity, reduced to isolated pockets, might survive on the oceans or in man-made underground bunkers, emerging into a world completely devoid of trees, but overflowing with rich, fertile soil and the ubiquitous flickering light of bioluminescent fungi. The problem wasn't the trees, it was the fungi that devoured the solution. The world is full of amazing what-ifs, and we continue to imagine them together. This was the Imagine If channel. Let's keep imagining together, because there are even more incredible stories ahead. Tell us in the comments what other topics you'd like to see. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on new incredible stories. And now, let's imagine what happens next.